Dear friends, Shalom Ubracha. Our encounter with the day of Tisha Beab as a nation began very early after leaving Mitzrayim with the episode of the spies that were sent to check out the land. They came back with a terrible negative report about the chosen land that HaKadosh Baruch Hu had gifted us with. And that was on the 9th day of Av. That night, that's when they arrived with the horrible news. The Chachamim tell us that as a result of that infamous event, HaKadosh Baruch Hu told them on the same night, Atem bachitem bechiyah shechinam, you have cried without reason. ואני קובע לכם בכייה לדורות, and I will establish this day to be a day of weeping for generations. And that's when Tisha B'Av began. And that's where history took us from event to event. The destructions of the Beit HaMikdash and many, many tragedies that happened to Am Yisrael, that they all came during Tisha B'Av and the days around. How is the relation between the event of the Meragelim, of the spies, connected to the destruction of the temples, to a period of mourning? We understand that the impact of their statements against the land of Israel brought about a sense of disconnect to Am Yisrael with Eretz Yisrael. They wanted that we should not go into Eretz Yisrael. They wanted that we forfeit our rights to a beautiful land. And that's what happened generations after. We were expulsed, the temples were destroyed, there was a disconnect that they have brought to the world. I think that even at our times, the echo of that disconnect continues. And you have people in the world who with a straight face will tell you that Am Yisrael has no connection whatsoever to Eretz Yisrael. The effect of the Meraglim continues. So, as we come to Tisha B'Av, we have to know what caused such an event, which was the source and roots for all the Tisha B'Avs that followed. The Chachamim tell us that the big mistake of the Meraglim was Amru b'fiem ma shelo ra'u be'einehem. They said with their mouths what they hadn't seen with their eyes. They went to Eretz Yisrael with a predetermined cause in their minds that they have a goal to come back and try to convince everyone not to go and inherit the land. That's how they left, with a decision already in their minds. In their mouths, the speech was ready for when they come back, before they even got a chance to see with their eyes what they had to see. And obviously, the vision was disturbed by their inner emotions of negativity. And that was the mistake of the Meragelim. And that's what's going to correct the state of Am Yisrael through the generations. As we understand, this comes from something very interesting that happens in Megillat Echa, the book of Lamentations that we read on Tisha B'Av, that Yirmiyahu Navi wrote. And he wrote it, although it's a book of mourning, he wrote it very poetically, and every chapter follows the order of the Aleph Bet. The first chapter has the full Aleph Bet in its proper order, and then the second, the third, and the fourth chapters, Yirmiyahu makes a change. And all the letters are in order except the Ayin and the Peh. The Ayin, which is supposed to come before the Peh, comes after. He creates a pasuk for the Peh first and then for the Ayin. And from there we learned that that was the problem of Am Yisrael at the time, and that's what disturbs the true vision of what we have to see. That the Peh, the mouth, comes before the Ayin, before the eyes. And that's a grave mistake. And there Yirmiyahu wanted to send that message. There is a reality that we can have in our vision that we don't have in the other senses. Our vision is such that standing in front of us is a picture with thousands upon thousands of details that we see simultaneously. There's thousands upon thousands of pixels that stand before us. That's vision. Vision is to be able to see the whole picture. Vision is to take into consideration every detail and put it in its proper place and in its proper order. The sense of hearing and the sense of speaking is not the same. You can only speak letter by letter. You will not have 1,000 letters simultaneously coming to your mouth nor to your ears. It's letter by letter. Even a syllable is difficult to come together. And that's what our Torah expects of us. At the times when we want to fix ourselves and the situation around us, we have to have the proper vision. We have to have our eyes take into consideration everything around us, and then make a decision that can be turned into a verbal statement. But there can never be a statement without a proper vision and every detail that comes with it. That balanced vision, that look at the true reality, is what makes us special. We're living in difficult times. There's a lot of turbulence in the world. And surely if one wants to look at the negative without taking into consideration anything else, he wants to speak of how bad things are, surely there is what to say. But we, as Jews, we know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is with us. We know that there is a much larger picture taking place in front of us. There's many, many more details that are important that are happening before us. And we look at the good, the great miracles that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doing to us under the circumstances. And that's the definition of a Jew. And that's what we learn from Tisha B'Av, and that is what we want to correct and carry through our lives. We're coming to the days of Av now. And Be'ezrat Hashem, we should see the reality happening in front of us, where HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised us that He will turn these days, Ya'afoch otam lesason u'simcha, to joy and happiness. These days will be soon, days of joy, days of festivity, when we stand in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and we thank Him with a new song, as the Beit HaMikdash will be rebuilt, Mashiach will come, and we will all stand in Yerushalayim HaBenuya b'mera b'yameinu, amen, amen.